Hello everyone. Most of our breeding pairs are settling in quite nicely, so I thought, whilst we're waiting for some eggs to be laid, I'll just run you through the two main projects I'm working on at the moment. And they are my project for brown racing pigeons and for barless racing pigeons. So this pair is the second generation in my brown racing pigeon project. Although he's sitting in the nest at the moment, he's just using it as a bit of a perch. These guys are the only pair who have not yet paired up. I'm not sure if it's just because he's a little too young and doesn't quite know what to do, or if it's because she was paired up with a different cockbird at the other loft. Either way, I hope they pair up soon, because I really would like to get a round out of this guy before the end of the year. If you're wondering how we're expecting to get brown birds out of this pair, a black and a dark checker, it's because we know that this guy carries brown. Brown is a sex-linked recessive gene, and this cockbird carries brown. We know that because his mother was brown. That means that one of his Z chromosomes carries the brown gene, and half of his daughters will be brown. With his hen and the blackbird himself both having white or pied feathers, it's quite likely that we're going to get some pied babies as well, which isn't exactly what I'd like to see, but this hen is a very, very well-bred racing pigeon, and this guy doesn't have a bad pedigree either. So at the moment I'm just happy to try and breed some brown pigeons, even if they are pied. Once we have a few, we'll try and breed the pied out of them. My other main project is, of course, the barless racing pigeons. And you would have seen the barless breeding plans video already. She's been paired up with this beautiful dark checker, and they made it up very quickly. As you can see, he's a big, beautiful boy. So we're expecting eggs from these guys in about a week. This barless hen really loves breeding. Anytime I met her up with any kind of cockbird, she's always very interested. At the moment I do just have all the birds in this old breeding setup. I didn't do any repairs to the setup, so as you can see it's not quite straight and it's a little bit cobbled together. That was mostly because I am going to build a new loft in a couple of months, so I didn't want to put too much money into this one whilst we're just a few months away from a brand new loft. There actually is a nice big vacant block next door, and I'd love to be able to put a loft up there. So if you want to see that happen, maybe have a look at the Patreon and see if you can help out. Anyway, I'm going to do some cleaning and then we'll look at the rest of the birds. Alright, well it's actually a few hours later. I did a clean up and then I went inside and got distracted, and they've made a nice mess again in the meantime. Although really when they're just settling in like this, I can't get much cleaning done anyway. They're always a bit too jumping in the boxes until they've settled down on their nests. Anyway, I'll show you another thing I've done whilst I was cleaning up. I've put these little nest felts in the nest bowls. I've never used these before. I've always used pine needles or straw, but I wasn't able to get any pine needles this year, so I decided to give the nest felts a go. So I'll let you know how it works for me. Anyway, this pair's settled in quite nicely. I have bred from this pair before. This isn't the first time they've met, so obviously they paired up again quite quickly. Last time I had them together they produced a very interesting looking baby. I'll put up a picture of it now so you can see what the last baby these guys produced looks like. Anyway, let's move on to the next nest. Now these guys of course paired up very quickly. They were only separated a couple of weeks ago, so putting them back together they were very quick to pair up again, and like I said, it should just be another week or so and there'll be some eggs in there. I always get questions whenever I post this guy, so I'll try and answer some of them now. His big nose. His big nose is not a growth, it is just his natural sear. He's quite an old pigeon, and as you know, the sear just grows as they get older. He also is a homing pigeon, he's not a crossbred. There's just a lot of genetic diversity in racing pigeons or homing pigeons, and some breeds do just grow a big wattle as they get older. There's also a question about what I'm trying to produce out of this pair. Somebody asked if I'll get a classic almond out of it, and the answer is no. I'm not aiming for a classic almond out of this pair. I've shown it in the past, but I'll put up a picture again now of the spread black and brown stipper, which is what I'm aiming for from these guys. Alright, the next pair needs some grit as well. I'll top them up. And they are the red checker pair. These guys paired up really quickly too, and she's such a nice looking little hen. The cockbird's a lot older than her, but he's full of genetic potential as well, so I'm really impressed with this pair, and I can't wait till they're on eggs as well. And then finally we have the reds, and I'm really happy to see that these guys have paired up quickly. I was worried that it might take a little while, especially because the hen's been moved around so much in the last few weeks. She only just finished up her racing career, and then she moved into a temporary loft, a quarantine pen, and now she's in a breeding pen with a cock she's never seen before. But she's taken it all in her stride, and they've paired up nice and quickly, and she's such a nice looking racing hen. So I'm really looking forward to seeing the babies that come out of this pair, and also seeing how they perform on the racetrack. Have a look at that. Whilst I was filming, you didn't lay an egg, she laid an egg. Up in the loft at my parents' place, all the hens were separated into their own loft, and most of them paired up with each other. So this is about the 4th or 5th egg that's been laid since I've had the birds here. Obviously it's not a fertile egg because she was just paired up with another hen, but it would have been nice if she could lay it in the nest. I hope in a week's time you don't miss the nest with your good egg, because we really need to get a baby out of you. Preferably a pair. Yes, that's where we need to be, in the nest. Not on the floor, in the nest. Anyway guys, that's all I've got for you today. It's a bit of a calm before a storm here at the moment. All the birds are in their pens. Most of them are paired up, but we have no eggs or babies yet. In another week, about another 7 or 8 days, we'll have eggs, and then another 18 days after that, our baby boom will start, and we'll have our last round of babies before the end of the year.